And welcome back. Today we are flying out the Tempest Mark II because someone was actually insane enough to donate me money to fly out his favorite vehicle. Now, to all the other Patreons as well, will be in the top right. Thank you very much for supporting me. But this thing, it's kind of in a weird spot. It's basically a worse F2G. Now the F2G is insane, we all know this. Has good acceleration, good climb rate, an absolutely appallingly bad turn. And the real bane of your existence will be P51H's, F2Gs, but F2Gs are somewhat fightable because they're pretty similar to you. And planes like the Yak 3U. Now the Yak 3U is extremely dangerous. The thing is, he's compressing quite badly. He breaks off at the worst time possible and we are going to get a singular shot in. Now, we crit him. He's gonna go vertical, and even if he keeps his loop up, there is no chance we will ever catch him in this. But then he does it again. He switches his turn, he goes straight up and he basically flies into my guns. I did not have to correct my flight path that much, he basically gave me that kill. And that's how you will have to dogfight in this thing, because if people are aware of your bad turn and the characteristics of this plane, you are just not going to be killing them in a dogfight. Now, in F2G, planes like the J7W, the TAR 152C, those planes, the very bad turning planes, you can stick with. It has very good energy. And you can abuse it in a dogfight. The problem is something like an F2G just has more energy. It has a little bit of a better turn. So it's just better than you. But the F2G is counterable with some pilot skill. Planes like the P51H, however, will not. The Yak 3U also not, but at least the Yak 3U you can actually outrun. Now, here we are, ideal position. We are above the entire enemy team. Now, if you are facing US, get ready for a struggle fest. FU4B and the P51H in tandem are some of the worst things you can face in this thing. Planes like the LA9, planes like the 109s, which I unfortunately did not get in the enemy team. They are fun to fight. You can use your energy, you can stall them out. But more often than not you will fight Russia and US. Now these two in tandem are actually probably the worst thing you can ever face. However, luckily at 6.0 battle rating it's kind of dead. It's kind of devoid from good players at the moment. No one wants to fly it. So you can actually fly around and get some stuff done. Now you still need to do everything right. It's not an easy plane to fly. It's super simple, and I said this in the few videos ago as well. Even though the plane is very simple, it is not very easy to fly. You are handicapped. It is extremely fast. And you can see this right now. I'm going 850. But keep in mind the P51H is faster. It turns better. It dives faster. It climbs better. It has better high altitude performance. It has, well, not better guns, but they're much easier to use. You have much more ammo, the higher velocity. And this engine really likes to get one shot. Take it from me, it really does. Right now I come in with a lot of speed. I'm not gonna put that speed into a turn. I'm just gonna go straight up and I will stall right above these two guys. And I will focus the P51H first. He's going pretty slow. He's trying to go vertical on us. Yeah, not really gonna happen when I'm going that fast. So we gun him down and we do the same thing. We use all the speed that we build up and we just go straight back up. Now the nice thing about the bad turn of this thing is you don't lose that much speed. You can do these turns for a pretty prolonged period of time and you will probably not run out of energy. Now the problem is when you get stuff like that above you, there it is, the P51H. So I'm gonna break off here, just making sure that I don't actually turn towards the airfield because I want to actually dogfight this guy. That is if he doesn't decide to actually go for someone else. I'm breaking off right now, I'm just flying away from him in the hope that he goes for my teammates below. I see that he's kind of breaking off. He is tricking me just as I'm trying to trick him, and he ends up actually going for us. So what I want to do is make him dive on me. I want him to go faster than me, because if I'm faster than him, no chance I'm ever killing him unless I'm above him. If I turn into him, I go up and over, and because I'm a little bit slower than him, because he was diving and I was turning, I'm going to get the first shot in. I unfortunately miss it, and at this point I thought I was dead, but this P51 also does the exact same thing as the Yak 3U, and he turns back into our guns. If he had just gone into that same direction, I would have had to break off and he would eventually catch me. And just like I said in the LA9 video, sometimes you just need to take some risks. Sometimes you need to take a ballsy approach. And it's going to make your life a lot easier. Now sure, he's going to kill you instantly if you go for the ballsy approach and he actually plays it right. But if he plays it right, if you play it safe in a plane that's worse than his, you're going to die anyway. And I mean, if you're gonna die anyway, you might as well die quick, right? Hey, I mean, at least you don't have to suffer. I mean, you're going to be suffering in this thing regardless, because you're going to be facing US every game. But at least you can minimize the suffering. Now, the FU is now chasing the Junker 288. He killed him And I have a lot more speed and I have some altitude. So I'm just not going to take this head on because I do not have to. If he pitches up for us, he dies. If he doesn't pitch up for us, then he can potentially run away. But I think I have too much energy here for him to actually do that. However, if he were to go straight, try to build up his speed, he could outrun us. The thing is that I have a lot of energy here, so I can just dive and outrun him. The thing is, at higher speeds, I cannot hang with him in the dogfight. I have to break off and he's going to end up actually killing me. So he can basically do whatever he wants because he has a better plane, as long as it's not that. Here comes the Spitfire, and I'm really not feeling dogfighting a Spitfire because I don't know where the other guy is. There's another FU-4B around. So for now I'm just flying towards the middle of the map. I'm trying to get towards my side of the map. I'm trying to fly away from the FU-4B that's on the runway, or at least potentially on the runway. I don't know where he is exactly. And then the AA starts opening up and I instantly get paranoid because I feel like this is going to be a game that's going to end up in a video. I already have 5 kills. There's 2 guys left. And the 2 guys that I can 1v1. Now if I can split these guys up, that'd be fantastic. But the Spitfire breaks off. He goes RTB, and at this point I think I'm just going to engage the FU-4B. The Spitfire is now not next to him. And if I can fight the FU alone, with this altitude advantage, I can actually do something. Now the Spitfire is kind of annoying. On his own, in a 2v1, it becomes almost impossible. Now I'm asking the Arado to like fly around, bait people low, and he's actually cooperating, which is extremely nice. Thank you for that if you are watching this video. And I'm just waiting for the FU to pull into the head-on. I'm not going head-on with him right now. I don't want to invite him into taking it. And I'm just going to stick it. I see when he fires, the second he fires, I break off. We don't actually manage to hit him, but we have enough energy here to just go up. And we have him energy trapped. He can now just dive out. And if he does so, then same deal as with the first one. Or the 5th one, however you want to look at it. I'm going to struggle killing him. Luckily for us, he does the opposite and he starts pulling into us. Now, if I miss this shot, I am completely boned. Don't get me wrong. Luckily, I don't. He's extremely slow. And we end up gunning him out of the air. And now the Spitfire is going to pop up his stand, circle the base for about 6 minutes. And then he's going to land and leave. Kind of anticlimactic, but it is what it is. I cannot hire my opponents. I wish I could, however. Now, F2G going head on with us. He's turning in, he's too slow. I just predicted flight path, and with predicting I mean I basically aimed right at him because he's going 200 kilometers an hour. And I'm above 3 guys. So I'm gonna dive in on the first one here. There's an A2D, there's an F7F, and there's an F2G. Now the F7F isn't exactly the prime target, but these guys are all turning away from me. So I'm gonna pick whatever I can. I want to get these numbers down because it's 1v3 on this side of the map. So we go straight up again. We have plenty of speed to stall these guys out. But I do want to be kind of wary of the A2D because he has that black hole engine, almost 30 meters a second climb rate. I'm not sure if he still has his bombs on. But him, no, there go the bombs actually, they explode in the background. So now I truly know that he is clean. He's actually going fighter mode, so I want to be kind of wary of this guy. Now they're both constantly turning towards the airfield. Or at least that's what it felt like. They're not actually doing that at all. They're just constantly going to the north or the east. I can't actually read that, but they're not going towards the airfield, they're just trying to break off me. A2D is trying to go head on. I do the same thing as earlier, predict the flight path, but again he's only going 200. I go head on with him, I miss him. I go up and over. And I should be very comfortable here. I can just go up, I can stall on top of him. And I can very easily just gun him down. Now the problem is he's actually going to go towards the airfield. He's going to fly directly towards it. So I'm going to feel rushed. And I feel I have more ammo than I had. I only had 155 rounds. So I'm spraying a little bit too much. And I'm actually going to end up, after very clearly killing that guy, we went into the next match and it's Small Mozdog. And Small Mozdog is good and bad depending on who you face, and you guessed it, we of course face America. We have an F2G going for us. Now again, the F2G is something that I actually don't mind dogfighting too much, as long as the autopilot wants to take the fight. Now if they disengage at will, and they can do that, you're gonna have a little bit of a problem. Luckily for us, this guy kind of breaks off, forgets about us. We might be unspotted in the clouds, or maybe he thinks that we dove away. But we can now turn back in and get a bit of a head-on. We miss it, however. Luckily, he turned in quite late, so we didn't actually have the ability to turn into us fully. I'm going to cut my throttle to see if I can maybe cut into his loop. And we can do so. I'm going to keep the throttle a little bit lower. He's going downwards. He's losing more speed than us, so I want to be somewhat careful. And as I'm talking about being careful, he just completely forgets about my presence and he just flies straight into my guns. And unfortunately, that's how you're supposed to win these fights. So for now, I want to get away from the airfield again. and I want this P51 to actually engage me. Now he's not gonna do so for the majority of this match, he's just gonna stay right up there, so I think, well, I'm just gonna try and see if I can maybe mop up some guys down low. He's just gonna stay up at altitude, I'm gonna let him do his own thing, he's being very reserved, we'll call it that. And I think, well, let's just fly towards the F-84, so that I don't have to deal with him late game, and I can really just focus on the P51. Well, that is if he actually wants to fight me. Now, the G56 goes head on with the F-84. He couldn't really do anything else there. He just got shredded by the M350 cows. But I see that the F-84 is pretty slow. Unfortunately, now there's also an A2D coming in. Now, because the F-84 is actually ignoring us, we can head on this A2D and waiting for his muzzle flash. I just spray a little bit and down he goes. Now, I'm engaging the F-84. The F-84 is turning around. He probably hasn't actually realized that his buddy has died. Because when your teammate dies, his name doesn't actually grey out. You have to look at the kill feed. And now he engages us, and I want to actually turn in front of this guy, because if I turn away from him, he's going to be too far away for me to actually catch him, so I'm just going to stay in front of him. If he pitches up, I will stall him out with my energy, and if he goes straight like this, I will end up directly 6. Now, if I had killed this guy a little bit earlier, this BI would have survived, which would have been very helpful, except he just really likes to stay alive, and then the millisecond I kill him, well, just before that he manages to kill my BI-1, which is unfortunate because the BI-1 is extremely potent, especially against something like a P51H. Now, P51H finally dives on us. He notices that he isn't going to get the shot, so he breaks off and he goes straight vertical. And this is going to be the name of the game. He's just going to be very, very passive like this, and there is just simply nothing I can do. Now, I'm going to try and keep my speed up because I don't want to be a sitting duck with this 50 cals. He's going to end up very easily just killing us. So I'm trying to go underneath him, I'm trying to make him compress, I'm trying to make him go as fast as possible. And he doesn't want to take it, yet again. He breaks off. And I see the FTG coming in, I don't want to turn this into a 2v1. P51 is flying into the opposite direction. So I'm not going to chase the guy that I won't be able to kill in the 1v1 anyway. And I'm going to see if I can actually manage to take down this F2G. Now, we go head on. We're going to shoot, we'll wait for his 50 cal and we break off just in time. We manage to get a hit in. We don't actually do that significant amount of damage, and he's gonna fly straight, and then the second he sees me turn, he's gonna turn in too, but it's a little bit too late, and he stops turning in. He's just climbing at this point, and then he turns in a little bit later after basically losing all the speed. This is the worst thing he could have done. He then pushes head on, but again I can just predict his flight path because he's going 200 kilometers an hour. You've been noticing a trend yet? I have. This guy, however, doesn't want to go 200 kilometers an hour, he only wants to go 800. He has been circling me like this for a while now, and you can see that I'm just very far away. I've cut it out because he's just sitting behind me. I'm trying to do maneuvers like this, and this time he actually took it. Now I'm losing a lot of energy here doing these kind of maneuvers, but I need to be aggressive. I cannot wait for this guy to eventually kill me, because that doesn't get me anywhere. Now, I'm gonna fly into the opposite direction yet again, and he is finally kind of committing. And this guy, all he had to do was just dive on me, and I would have died. But he doesn't want to take any risks, and he's just spraying from like 2 kilometers away. It's very obnoxious to fight. You can call it the right way, but he could have literally just parked on my 6 and dropped his throttle, and I couldn't have done anything. He is playing it safe. He's playing it too safe, so safe that I end up getting angles, and I end up actually getting opportunities. If he had just gone balls to the wall on me, I can't do anything. Now sure, going balls to the wall makes it so that he might make a mistake and he might mess it up. So he's playing it overly safe, and it's actually not going to get him anywhere in the long run, because it won't teach you anything about this game. Now, we turn in, we're trying to make him go for the shot. He finally does so. We pull up and over, and are we finally going to get a dogfight? Now I could have killed him here, but I don't manage to get the shot in because I didn't abuse my rudder enough. Now I get the shot here, and just as I shoot, he turns the other way and he just dodges me. Super frustrating. Junker 288 dies to the AA, and I'm stuck in this fight. Now I can somewhat fight this for a little bit. If this goes too prolonged, I have to dive out and run away. I'm gonna drop the flaps. I need to keep my power up. I don't have much of a choice to go sideways here. He nicks my tail, doesn't do too much damage luckily. And I'm going to drop my throttle here in the hope that he's going to overshoot, because he's going a little bit faster. He's going to end up flying underneath my plane, and I should be able to pitch up into him and kill him. Now he does the right thing this time. He stalls into the right direction. I need to fly over his guns or next to his guns. I need to make sure that he doesn't get the shot. And then I'm just simply going to dive out. At this point, it's done deal. There's no chance I'm sticking with that fight any longer. And if I do that one more loop, I am simply dead. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna kill myself, so reset the fight. I should have a little bit of ability here to get my speed back up. But look at this. The separation that I'm gaining here is absolutely minimal. Now he can just spray at me from 1.1 kilometer. He's of course never going to... And after running away for a very long time, as you can see, we are still on Mozdog. It just started snowing in the meantime. Don't pay mind to that. But we're gonna get some more kills. We already have 5. Let's see if we can turn it into like 11. So we're diving on the F3D here. And he's a priority. I don't want that guy in the game. I don't want him to start outrunning me later on. If I have to deal with him and a prop, it's basically going to negate any ability I have in terms of playing my energy. So I dive in, I see the FU coming in from the side, and we go up and over. He's ground pounding however, so he's not really that much of a threat, but I'm down here now anyway, so I'd rather just clean up everyone in the hope that I can make sure that my team stays alive. Because the FU 4-7, while he's just ground pounding, he still has 4 A&M3s, and it's very likely that he's just going to end up full commit head-onning someone. So we set him on fire, the F3D is coming in, I notice that he's not shooting at me, so I'm just going to hold the trigger down. He's going to fly directly into my guns, and that's going to be a 2-piece. And as you can clearly see here, the F7F got eaten for breakfast by a jet. Ain't that a kick in the head, Spitfire? So we are continuing on, 8D4 is right in front of us, also not the biggest threat, and I'm going 670, which is pretty damn quick. I'm going to run this guy down, and if he wants to head on us, I'll gladly take it. I can just dodge it, I can go up, and even though he turns much better than us, he won't have the energy to actually gun us down. Luckily for us, he's gonna do neither of that, and he's just gonna keep ground pounding, go 200 kilometers an hour, and he's even going to be nice enough to turn sideways and give me a full profile shot. Now the F2G over there is gonna die because he got his engine one shot by Junker 288, and we are gonna wait for the next engagement. After getting a little bit of altitude, we notice there's an F4U going for the 262. I want the 262. But he gets unspotted, so I already know that he's not actually looking at him. We're in a very thin cloud, making it so that we can't spot him either. This 262 is absolutely oblivious. But luckily for him, the FU 4B behind him is just as oblivious as the guy he's chasing. So I come in from the side, I just hold the trigger down. He notices me at the very last moment, and he gives me again the full profile shot. Down he goes. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna wait for the next engagement. Yeah, because everyone is kind of spread out in this match, which with this thing is absolutely perfect. So the J7 is coming in. He's gonna give us a real run for our money by outperforming us in literally no categories other than his guns. And maybe his high speed compression, but that thing is so unwieldy. I can very easily get around his guns. He's not fast enough to do it anyway. And then he's going to keep on diving and decide he's gonna go for the bomber. I mean, I get why you do it, but do you really think that's the best idea? Well, maybe if you're only looking for RP. So we shove a 20 mil right in his cranium, and down goes the J7. Now I'm gonna be looking around, and there's an F2G at 9 kilometers, and he's going to tank like 7 of my rounds because he's AFK, and then he's going to land and leave. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for watching, and you will see me all tomorrow with another jet video.